The director of the new Joker movie says that woke culture is to blame for the decline of comedy. So, Todd Phillips, he is the director of the upcoming Joker movie. We've talked about it a little bit on this channel, not into too much detail. The video that I did surrounding it was regarding some comments made by the shot callers of this movie. And they were basically saying that they won't be referencing the source material. Now, are they sticking to that? We don't know. But I was very alarmed. So before I say what I'm going to say, and I take it the direction that I'm going to take it, I want to be very, 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 very clear about the fact that there's a chance that I may not like this movie, even if some of you guys like it, because I'm not going into this gonna force myself to like it just because some of the comments that he's about that, we're gonna kind of go through. But also I go into it with the expectation that it shouldn't be exactly like the movie. It shouldn't be exactly like the comics. Don't ever go into any movie like that. But there's no point in calling it a Joker movie if it's not the Joker, if you catch my drift. But Todd Phillips, he's done like The Hangover and stuff. So sort of crossing over into this avenue is a little weird for him. Not maybe for him, but for the viewers, considering where he came from. And he states in some interviews, "Go try to be funny in today's woke culture. All the funny guys are like, F this because I don't want to offend you." Now, there's a couple of different ways to take it. Obviously, that's true. That there are people that not only, don't want to do comedy, but we have some of the OGs kind of staring in different avenues or going different directions because they fear for their careers and that they have to go that route because they risk the idea of offending somebody, saying the wrong thing about somebody, and it completely derailing their careers. All this sort of happening, not necessarily derailing his whole career, but it at least snatched an opportunity from him and with the SNL. With Saturday Night Live, but we have seen other individuals that have not only come out and said it, but also just they were like, "Look, I'm going to do what I'm going to do," and that's Dave Chappelle. And I think what people have to understand, comedians and the like, actors and the like, is that there are people that will support you if you do decide to go that route. It's not just this sort of you're dead in the water. I know it may sound like that, and you may be ostracized by some of your colleagues, but as we saw with Dave Chappelle, that there's a counterculture of people that will have no problem supporting you because they are sick of what's going down in the industry, going down in entertainment. Now, where he loses me is when he says, let's take the comic book movie universe and turn it on its head with this. What he's referring to, and this is Todd Phillips, again, director of the upcoming Joker movie, and what he is saying is that that's what incentivized him to go into comic books, is sort of the decline of what he was, let's say, some of the movies that he was known for maybe directing or being a part of, because he's like, screw that, okay, I'll go do this. Now, this is, can't be a hypocrite here, this is like what the SJWs do, in which they will go to comic books and they'll just use them as their way. They just use it as a platform. And I'm not saying that's exactly what he's doing. Todd Phillips here is doing, but they use it as a platform because, again, they can't do it with their own art. So what they do is hijack comic book culture, which is what you've seen. I've covered this. I've talked about screenwriters as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, saying that they weren't even in the superhero movies before they were brought on to Marvel. You know exactly what their intentions were and what their intentions are. So I can't be a hypocrite here. That's a little alarming when he says that, which is basically, this wasn't going to work out for me, therefore I decided to go here. This is exactly what the guys on the comic book side, or more so the SJWs that have, ruined some of these characters, that's exactly what they've done. And they have, noticed that they can't really do that on their own. So they're hijacking characters that have decades of history behind them and using them as their political and social platform. Now, for those who don't know, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this movie. Some of it comes from what happened with I can't remember which Batman movie that mass shooter, committed such a horrendous act, killing innocent people. But it's not just that. Woke culture sort of got a hold of this, in which it looks to sort of praise, sort of cast or depict Joker, who has historically been a cutthroat sort of villain, goofy in a sense, but a cutthroat villain. And they're looking at it like, well, they're going to make people like him. And then that's when they throw out the terms that they maybe call some of you guys incel and such. This is who the movies afford. It's toxic masculinity and so forth. So of course they were going to get a hold of that. I think at any point in time where you have somebody with fair skin that's in being cast in a lead role, you're gonna hear it from them. That's just kind of where we're at. And yes, it's nonsense. It's crazy. I've seen articles written on this about these sort of weirdos saying that this movie's bad and toxic masculinity. It praises this, it praises that. I mean, dude, it's a movie. You're supposed to be entertained. But this is where we're at. I mean, this is where we're at with the whole culture, unfortunately, and this is the sort of nonsense that you can expect to deal with these days. But I just wanted to be clear. I want to let you guys in on that. You can look up some of his interviews that he's done. He said some interesting things, and I don't want to act like I'm just going to get out there and support or love this movie simply because of that. I think that's what's going to happen with a lot of individuals. We saw that happen with it's almost a Streisand effect, man. You see what happened with the Dave Chappelle thing, and people were going to watch that movie by the hundreds of thousands. And that's probably what's going to happen with this, considering what he's saying. You're going to get that counterculture going to support this movie almost out of spite. Even if they had no incentive on seeing it, you told them not to. Now they're going to go see it. That's just kind of how it works. But I just wanted to be clear, because what may happen is I may like it. I may not like it. But there's a high chance, considering the other comments, even some of those that we went through here, that I may not like it. I'm not going into this movie. I don't care. A lot of people are going to crap on me because of it, but you should know this by now. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. If I've slammed the Marvel Cinematic Universe for having weird, odd depictions of characters, then I got to do the same thing. You got to do the same thing. I just can't do it just because, the directors are speaking against the woke culture. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and do that. If this does not feel like Joker, and if this is not a depiction of what is Joker, then I'm not going to dig it. Just because, they should have called it Joker if that was the case. And I'm not going to dig it just because they went up there and more so decided that, okay, we're going to use the Joker name and branding to make a movie. That's not enough for me. And I would actually say that it's an insult if they do that, and this doesn't feel anything like a Joker, just feels like a guy going mad and such. And yes, Joker has sort of these weird origins from time to time. The more consistent one has been him being formerly Red Hood. But we've seen that. But nonetheless, if you're going to call it Joker, it should feel like the Joker. And it may very well. It may well at least feel like it. I don't expect it to go into it got to be exactly like this comic book. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it does have to at least respect the source material. That's what I slammed Marvel Cinematic Universe, not because they didn't make the character or had like Marvel be, it wasn't exactly like Marvel. No, it's because they completely changed that character. It wasn't Marvel at all. So if this isn't Joker at all, I'm not going to enjoy it. So please keep that in mind when my review comes, because I can see there being a scenario where I go into it and you may like it. If you look at it as isolated, this is what a lot of normies do, is that they look at it as they don't really have any sort of connection to that source material. So they look at it as an isolated thing. As long as it has some, the branding, the name, that's enough for them. They don't care if Spider-Man just has a suit. That's enough for them. It doesn't have to act like Spider-Man. They don't really know how he acts. But that's not my approach. I'm going into it like, okay, you're using the character. That's the whole reason you're using the character. At the very least, you can respect them and respect the source material. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Until next time, homies, y'all be easy.